Thank you, Manjeev sir. Thank you for having a conversation with ANI. For the last 48 hours, Nepal is burning. How do you describe the situation in Nepal right now?
Naman, thank you, and I think you put it very well. There's a lot of protest, lot of unrest, and in fact, there have been lots of incidents of violence.
Hmm.
Uh, I think we need to understand this in a lot of context.
Hmm.
Why should one of the most important thing for me to say is Nepal embraced democracy about 20-25 years back, a long time earlier, but about 20 years back in a very big sort of a manner.
Hmm.
The people in Nepal, more than a quarter of the population is overseas, and I'm not just talking about India, but all over the world. So therefore, there's a unique kind of empowerment among the people, especially the young. There's a kind of understanding of globalization. In this context, it is particularly important for political leaders to have their ear to the ground, to be responsive to what people need and what are their aspirations. Now, there has been a series of problems. After COVID, Nepal hasn't been able to recover very well. There is unemployment. There is general frustration among the youth. There's a feeling that the old guard politicians are just continuing. They're deciding among themselves and going on. In the midst of this, when you do something as drastic, which is so important for Nepal, which is essentially shut down social media, obviously people will come out, they will protest. And then I think we should agree that there was a mishandling of the situation, a truly very badly handled situation. Can we say that the buck can stop only with the officials? The answer is no. Nepal is a relatively small country. The happenings triggered off in Kathmandu, in the heart of the city. The responsibility has to be taken politically. And the answers also, Naman, in my view, is political. You engage with the people, you have a sense of empathy for them, you understand what they want. With around 19 deaths already confirmed and maybe more, about 100 plus people in hospital, it requires not just empathy, but they also require a degree of accountability. And it's need to assure people that what they want and what their requirements are, not just lifting the social media ban, but accountability that shall also be assured. This is the need of the hour for the political leaders in Nepal to do.
So do you see the anger and the frustrations towards the government was mounting up for a while, and social media ban was a trigger point?
I have no doubt about that. There are also some small incidents and so on. They are all very important incidents in a place like Nepal. This particular kind of frustration has now been noticed for some time. A few months back, you remember people were talking about pro monarchy set of demonstrations. Now, there too, those numbers were not large, but it was an expression of people feeling fundamentally dissatisfied with what their political establishment is doing. Naman, remember, fundamentally over the last 10 years, there are three people who have been prime ministers in succession, a kind of musical chairs going on there. And, the system there, obviously, there's a degree of both uh, authoritarianism, a bit of a distancing from the actual ground reality. What do people want? Inability to meet aspirations which are rising as a result of globalization and Nepalese internalizing globalization. When you see all of this, there's no doubt it requires and required a great deal of having your ear to the ground, responsiveness to the people. I also want to make one more point to you. Nepal is a small country by India standards and China standards, but a large country by other global standards. The population that really counts there is this Pahadi community. And Kathmandu is a major center. It's nearly 15-20% of Nepal's population. And the youth are an important segment of the population. Now, when they get disturbed, then what it means is the fulcrum of Nepal stands disturbed. And this was something that the politicians should have understood, should have acted on, and acted with empathy. Instead, what did we see? We saw even the prime minister say, no, no, the social media is making lots of mistakes, it's causing problems, etc. And so you saw people's frustration come out, and then uh, frankly, the situation was very badly handled from a pure law and order perspective, which begets the question: what was the political leadership doing?
Sir, this is being called Gen Z protests, right? We know what happened in Myanmar, we know what happened in Sri Lanka, we know how the government was toppled or Sheikh Hasina was forced to flee the country. in Bangladesh too. But there are some speculations also. Now, there are some critics also saying there could be any foreign hand behind these protests.
I don't want to get into these kind of speculations because uh, who is exactly would benefit as a result of uh,
Hmm.
isn't relative stability. And I say relative stability, the country has political instability almost built into its political democratic electoral system. But a degree of that kind of stability, how is it something that won't have benefited others? Now, we can keep making these things, but I don't want that too much. Remember, it started from Kathmandu. There is good communication systems in Nepal. People are able to reach out to people across. There is a kind of camaraderie among the people. So when this ban happened, a degree of frustration was to take out. People came out, the groups became larger and larger. All the college students, etc., got together. And let's also remember, you mentioned Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Frankly speaking, people in Nepal, the young people are aware of what happened. So was that a kind of encouragement that yes, you can do it? Perhaps yes, why not? But it also shows that democracy is alive in a very interesting sense of the term. It shows democracy is alive, that people shouldn't be taking things in their own hand. But that's because the politicians are not listening. Isn't that exactly what happened in Sri Lanka, what happened in Bangladesh? Myanmar, of course, is a case apart in all of this. Politicians in democracies need to remember you need to keep a very good finger on the pulse and you need to understand, especially those who are critical and who matter to that. And for Nepal, that's young people in Kathmandu. Remember one more thing, Naman. There were mayoral elections in Kathmandu some years back, and it wasn't Mr. Oli's party that won. It wasn't Mr.
Hmm.
Sher Bahadur Dioba's Nepali Congress that won, but an individual, Balan Shah, who was an ex-rapper. He won with an overwhelming majority. And like, so this particular thing is something that the politicians needed to well aware of, be empathetic, and I believe that the engagement of the political class requires, of course, people are talking about change, etc. They need to engage with people with empathy and an understanding. Delivery is not so easy. It's very easy for us to talk about that. I'll wave the magic wand. Can you wave a magic wand and have a GDP increase? It doesn't happen. But can you somehow give people the feeling that we understand you, we work for you?
Sir, corruption has been a major issue. It's not about the KPOL government, in the previous governments also. And you know better than anyone because you have served in Nepal.
Naman, rent seeking is an old history in Nepal. I'm using a different word. Okay, and to expect that that will change, I don't know what to say. Isn't that the nature, they say, of all of us, the kind of society that we all come from? What do I say about our own country or anywhere else for that matter? As if the great country across the Atlantic Ocean is any different from all of this. But that's not it. At the moment, corruption is something which is just highlighted. It's brought up to the fore. There's this frustration. But more than that, you need to engage with people. You need to show them empathy. And at the moment, they've taken back the social media ban. But fundamentally, they need to show a degree of accountability. Now, I've heard the same rumors you said the prime minister to be changed and all. Look, these are political decisions. In various countries, people say that, when the head changes, there is a spot available to you for political dialogue, if I may say so. No doubt about that. But this is a call that Nepali politicians need to take among themselves, the leaderships there among themselves. Remember, you have a president of Nepal who is a seasoned politician in his own party. He may have lost elections to Mr. Sher Bahadur Dioba many times, but he's a seasoned politician who's been there a long time. He has a constitutional position, he has a de jure position, and so getting your mind together is possible. Remember, Naman, these are the same people who've spent 70, 80 years fighting for democracy. They're the same people who are in the forefront in changing over from monarchy to democracy, an elected government, a Republican Nepal. So don't they know that people matter and young people in today's day and age matter? Don't they have their own grandchildren, their own children, etc.? These are important facts, and politicians. It's a signal sign to politicians. Keep your finger on the pulse of the people. React positively to that. Understand what they are saying. Be less authoritarian. And remember, in Nepal, as in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, in a sense, this is a manifestation of democratic, uh, I can't say aspirations, but democracy being brought about in a over vibrant manner, but it is democracy.
We have been seeing pictures of kids of Nepali leaders, having lavish vacations, living abroad. And on the other hand, on the other side, you look at ordinary Nepali living with just 1 lakh rupees every single year. $1,300 is the per capita income. So the inequality is there. Do you think the pictures and everything that's coming out of social media has also triggered the wave among youth?
Naman, you are absolutely right. And this happens across the world, isn't it? The so called MAGA phenomena in the United States, similar kind of thing at a different level. What's happening? Look, there's no doubt that Nepalese politicians are rent seekers. And so, why should their children not be doing what they are doing? But let me say something to you. Over the last 20, 25 years, 30 years, Nepalese have spread out in the world. Today, remittances to GDP ratio, Nepal is among the five highest in the world. Nepalese have become much more globalized, which is why the social media counted their ability to have WhatsApp and FaceTime interactions, etc., because their own relatives, near and dear ones, are outside. And that was very important. Money has also come into the economy. Many people have traveled outside, and I don't mean India, I mean across the world in lots of places. So these ideas have come into Nepal, into the population, into the people. And that's something very interesting which has happened in this country, which under the monarchy had literally no exposure to globalization. In fact, till the early 90s, passports were a rarity as far as Nepal was concerned. And now, as I mentioned, 25% of the population is outside. And this is the major change. People are expressing their frustration. But, to say that there be no benefits, no, that's not true. But, just because I've got a benefit, that doesn't mean my aspirations, my feeling that you haven't done more for me is not there. That's certainly the case. And too long, the same political establishment continuing. Yes, one person goes, another one, but the same set of people, frustrations growing. COVID made Nepal realize in a very serious manner that its economy just relying on remittances was not such an easy task. All of these are difficult aspects. Frustrations are coming out. But the need of the hour at the moment, in my opinion, is political sagacity on the part of leadership, what they do, change over, etc. They need to understand the mood of the people. They need to understand. They need to engage with the people, and they need to calm the situation. Accountability is also particularly important. That's the nature of a well-connected and relatively homogeneous society that we are talking about. And I'm really referring to the Pahadis in Nepal because we know the Madhesis are as much, 50%. But the guys who matter in the sense are the Pahadis. They believe this is their country. And this is happening to them and their young people. They are reacting in a very, very negative manner. It's important for the political class to address that, assuage them, be accountable, and, be mature in doing what they have to do.
If you were advising Kathmandu today and the youth of Nepal, any message to them?
Naman, I am nobody to give anybody any advice. This is a polity which has been sagacious. After all, haven't they seen change just 20 years back? The youth have a right to ask for greater abilities, more aspirations, etc. It's important for the political class to understand these aspirations, understand what is being asked. They need to be accountable. There has been a very serious issue. These 20 plus deaths have not been noted in Nepal, even at the time when the monarchy was removed. So it isn't a simple matter that, this kind of things happen. No, they don't happen in Nepal. And it's a society which is a society where people have empathy for each other. Empathetic, realistic engagement with the people is the need of the hour of the political class. They need to do something. If it means changing themselves, that's up to them. But this now has to become a process in which the people and their aspirations are also well accounted for and they have a feeling that they've been heard.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for having a conversation with ANI.
Thank you, Namo. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.